This training intervention is brought to you by the Sanlam Foundation. Hi there, I'm Matthew Lester from the Rhodes Business School in Grahamstown. On behalf of the Sanlam Foundation, we have put together a little set of video interventions to introduce you to the concept of financial planning and what you should be doing after you leave university. In this series, we will be looking at the differences between saving, investment, speculation, and gambling. So, what's it all about? Here are the 4 outcomes that are required. We need to be able to differentiate between the difference between trading, saving, and investing and speculating. What are they all about? We also need to be able to differentiate between the different financial terms and the significance thereof in the concept of investment. We also need to look at the investment goals and associated time horizons. What's all that about? And finally, what is this question and issue about asset allocation? Right, let's start off with understanding risk. So, put up a line and draw 2 goalposts. On the left goalpost, you put 0 risk. I'm not prepared to take any chances. On the right, insane risk. And then we start to fill in the spectrum. The lowest risk activity is saving. Then we get to investment, where we take on a little bit of risk. Even more risk when you are speculating, and then finally insane risk when you are gambling. Now we have to say, right, let's look at the returns that you can expect. At present, 0 risk returns are very low, 3 to 6%. Then with investments, we hope for a higher return because you've taken on a little bit of risk. Speculation, it gets even higher, and then we get an infinite return when we are gambling. Then ask the question, why don't we just save? Forget taking on any risk. Well, what we see on the graph here is that if you take on no risk, your rewards are going to be little above the inflation rate. In fact, they might be below it. To beat the inflation rate and get positive real growth, we have to look for taking on some form of risk in the form of investments. Inflation has got a huge amount to do with it. It's no point in simply creating a small return that is not keeping with the ever-present problem that we have in South Africa with inflation. This can be somewhat confusing. The current graph reflects that South Africa's earnings are actually going up faster than the inflation rate. But unfortunately, that's not the only aspect that we need to consider. What we are finding in the last few years is that the costs of energy, that's petrol, paraffin, gas, and electricity, are going up far faster than the inflation rate. And consequently, if we are to create real wealth that is going to outstrip these costs, we cannot simply rely on interest receipts at 3 to 5%. We have to realize that the Minister of Finance, Pravin Gordhan, and the Governor of the Reserve Bank, Jill Marcus, have to do everything they possibly can to keep interest rates as low as possible. That stimulates economic growth in South Africa, but unfortunately the casualty of that is that interest rates for the saver are very, very small. So you can take it from me, it's going to take more than a lifetime to get rich earning interest. You could even get poorer. That leads to the inevitable question, is there any need for saving in South Africa today? Yes, there is. We have to consider savings are needed in your daily life to finance deposits on loans that you might want to buy a house or a car, to finance state occasions such as weddings, funerals, and babies, and all other events which could fall outside your monthly budget. In the next series, we will be going beyond savings and looking at investment, speculation, and gambling. This training intervention was brought to you by the Sanlam Foundation.